This is EX-Zodiac.
This is EX-Zodiac.
I remember hearing about it a time ago. I didn't look too far into it because it was still early access, and I had my fair share with early access games. So I don't like looking into things too early. But you showed it to me, and I was interested enough to go check it out. It's the free demo, by the way, what we're playing through, version this one. So there's no loss of playing it and getting it. We can look at
I've been passively following it. I actually follow what's his name, Ben Hickling on Twitter, and I've been seeing him update this for the better half of a year and a half. I think it was before the Kickstarter went up. And every time I saw it, I was like, man, this looks really cool. So I actually went in and
this is nice
back to the game.
But defaults are pretty solid, so I'm going with that.
Okay.
What you can do too, high-res mode and retro mode. So it goes to like an older style. I didn't care for that. I'm fine with the high-res. I like it more.
Yeah, I do too.
I find this experimental bit kind of interesting. But I'll be honest, give me that full 60, because this looks kind of... It's fine, but screw it. Why not? Now, one thing about it, because I have played this, and there's not many levels. 2 levels as far as I can tell, unless there's a way to get to the third.
Oh, okay.
And as far as I know, also not a way to clear a save without going to the files, probably. But 2 levels. But it saves it when you clear it. So you can go back to it whenever. I'm not sure if that's going to be long-term or not, but yeah. So let's go to the first area. So, the Forest of Allure under attack. Find out who's upon to put an end to destruction before it's too late. Good luck. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Star Fox. It's absolutely a big thing based off Star Fox. Except we are presumably human? Look at that character.
I believe that is his OC,
bombs.
which is a monkey girl.
That would make more sense, too. So, I'll tell you right now, I played through the first Star Fox just to kind of get a feel for things. Although most of my experience comes from 64. And the first one was rough. I could not get through that much. I played through one playthrough, and that was more than enough for me. I'm not going to go back to that. I tried playing 2, got to the first mission, and by mission I mean first level that I played was a 3D environment, but everything was 2D sprites. So they tried replicating a 3D world using 2D sprites, and it did not work well. So I said no immediately and did not play 2. But like I said, most of my experience comes from Star Fox 64, and then later on Assault. And I guess if you want to count it, fucking Monster Dragonland.
Yeah. Panther Dragoon?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. It got a remake.
Yeah.
Or a remaster, I guess.
Well, Panther Dragoon. Oh, you actually meant the actual game Panther Dragoon. I meant Dinosaur Planet.
Oh, Dinosaur Planet?
Yeah. Which one's Boost? This one is.
Yeah, because I've never owned a 64 myself or Super Nintendo, despite always wanting one. I've never properly played a Star Fox game, but I have seen, and I don't remember where, but I think I played a little of Panzer Dragoon at some point.
Okay.
So well, that's my experience with that.
This game is very much Star Fox.
Yeah, I saw that when I was following him.
It's very solid in terms of the controls and looks. Its style is far more of the first one, and technically the second, but far more the first. But absolutely, in terms of polish and all that, this is far more 64 and later on. The first boss is very much something you wouldn't recognize in the 64 version, I believe, and first one actually. This one though is very different. They dramatically added their own boss monsters.
Oh yeah.
So like in 64, for the most part, copies 1 is a remake of 1. But even then, there's some differences. And of course, 64 did a lot better, I will say. Come on, aim it. There it is. So Star Fox in general, you're a SIP. You got lasers. You shoot. The reticle that you see in front of me actually doesn't exist in the first game, in the old school. That was added to 64. And on top of that, I don't remember if it had the double reticle to show you positioning.
I was just about to ask what that what that second reticle
The
does.
second reticle, I mean, this is not necessarily just for Star Fox game, but most general other games as well. One is your sort of end marker. The other one is kind of like a path. Like if something is obstructing you, the red one would get hit by it. The blue one should be your end location, though.
Ah, okay.
So, like, it's the limitation of trying to express 3D space with a 2D kind of image. You got your barrel roll, as they're called. That's what we're calling them. And level clear. Now, I don't think there's extra maps here in this game. I have to look that up in the demo. If so, it's fine, though. But in 64, you would kind of have branching pathways based off actions you can do or stuff like that. But for this one, it's fine. You can just go in. It's demo.
Going off of the world map in general, it looked like, yeah, that there's going to be branching paths.
Yeah, so in due time, I can imagine that would be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And to the next one. So I think this is also really nice level. I think this was fairly unique, this level, compared to the first one.
Oh yeah, I think this was, I think not the last update, but the update prior, I think was the one that added the second level to the demo.
So basic stuff, you shoot, you fly around. You can hold L2 and R2. Again, I have to say that's actually, I'm using a PS4 controller. And I've just plugged it in and it just worked right out the gate. Which is fantastic. I love that.
That is fantastic.
But yeah, I'm using L2 and R2. If you double tap one side, you do this barrel roll, which will deflect any bullets that hit you. Also, holding L2 makes it easier to turn in that direction.
Okay.
While if you try to go in back, a little bit slower. So you have to kind of make sure you're maneuvering properly.
Okay.
You can hold to lock on. And this is where one difference exists. In this one, oh, it's not gonna be. You can lock on up to 3 targets, and that increases if you get little power-ups. In the original, you just lock onto 1. In 64, I should say.
Okay.
So that's a nice little bonus. And I do think that's actually a nice move ahead.
In the Wii U Star Fox, did they keep the lock on at 1, or did they up the number?
I believe that was still a lock on 1. For the most part, the Wii U Star Fox didn't change much of the mechanics for flight.
Outside of the Wii U pad?
Yeah, it added more than anything else the land walker. And that was kind of its own thing. And the land master also, I think. But I think that was pretty much it. The land walker was your new thing.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think the little Rob toy.
Rob toy?
Well, yeah. The
for
method.
And
that thing I just picked up was thing, right? What allowed me to lock onto more targets. And you can also lock onto the same target multiple times.
Hey.
And you also have bombs, which is, in this case, circle. But that can always be rebounded if you wanted to. You can easily detonate it with circle again. You used to be able to also launch your bombs while locked on, I believe. But I don't think you can do that in this one. And the button layout doesn't exactly really like it too much either.
Yeah.
I picked up a power-up early on that gave me double lasers, which is a classic.
Double lasers are always good.
Yeah. I'm missing those targets, guys. Tiny. I think I'm at the boss already? Yeah. So this is 100% very Star Fox-esque, but with some slight differences. Going off the older style, but I mean, I played through the first one. I had like 10, 20 frames at times. It's awful. So it's nice to see 60.
Okay, so I seen this boss when it was in development. I saw when there was no backdrop. It just popped out of nowhere.
Okay. I will say I don't remember anything like this in any of the Star Foxes I played. Which I should also say I play Assault, which I actually did enjoy. And the DS ones, which I managed to push through. The DS controls are awful. But they were kind of Star Fox-esque, so it was still fun enough.
I always forget about the DS ones. Whenever I think of the handheld one, I just think of the 3DS version of Star Fox 64.
Yeah. And I don't know how that played, but I feel like it probably played well enough.
I don't think they changed anything. I think they did what they did with Link Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, where they just upped the visuals, but everything else was relatively the same. Like up the visuals and fix some bugs or some graphical errors or something somewhere.
I think I have one more left. Yeah. But it's definitely good. I'm excited to see more because so far again only 2 levels, unfortunately. But they're solid.
They look solid.
Yeah.
Short but solid. I could see a lot of replayability of just going in trying to finish it as fast as you can and stuff.
That was in essence what Star Fox was. You keep going back, you get better, and you get more stuff. And in 64's case, you unlocked the ability to go on land as a person in multiplayer mode. In Assault, I think you did unlock something during getting high scores. I don't remember what though. It's been a while. And similarly, results. Me. But these are definitely fun games, and I'm excited to see more. We can go back to the first one for the heck of it, because it's only 2 levels. Like I said, the second one was absolutely very different, like any of the ones. The first level here is very much like the first level in the other games, but with some slight differences.
Probably designed to act as your intro. Here's how the enemy AI will work. Here's how to avoid stuff. Here's a power-up.
But I've enjoyed this so far, and still early.
That's good.
I don't know how long it's gonna take before we can see more, unfortunately, but hopefully not too long.
To my knowledge, the Kickstarter went live, I want to say it was 2 months ago.
Okay.
A month or 2 months ago. It hit its goal, so it's gonna get made. He's been working on this for about a year or so prior to the Kickstarter, so he already has the foundation set up. He just has to make the levels now. And I believe the Kickstarter was just to keep it funded and then to get some more people on staff to make it go faster.
That's good. No, I think they deserve it. This is clearly someone who loved the games back in time, or at least really enjoyed them, knows what they're doing about it, and knows what about it really made it fun. Because they added more, like they said, the lock-on mechanic is something they boosted onto it, and they didn't want to stay. They didn't want to stay the same for the sake of just building the same game. They wanted to add and improve it a little bit more too.
Yeah.
And I assume they kind of went with this older style because it's a little simpler to work with, I assume, but also just it looks nice enough. They made it look well.
And in terms of modeling, I could see it being the easier route too.
Yeah.
Like I think the most detail is in the boss designs.
Yeah.
And even then, it's still like spheres and cubes and rectangles.
It's pretty straightforward. Like all these little things like explosions,
destructible environment.
Slight destructibles. The trees explode. 'Cause why not? To be fair, they did that in the 64 too.
Yeah.
One thing I can say I noticed is you don't get allies, but that might be something later on.
It might be. Because I know...
Even then, they didn't really do much. They were like a minor thing they would throw in to help you out at moments. And ultimately, they were just there so you could help them out. And one thing I've noticed too is so far we've only done... what do you call these, I guess? A continuous straight line levels. No all range kind of levels where the 3D based or anything like that, which the first one did do, well, not free range, but kind of a pseudo 3D mode. But it was just like you kind of turned around in a cylinder. That was kind of it. Nothing too crazy.
Did they use those for the whole stage, or was that just a boss thing?
For a few bosses.
Okay.
The only time I think they actually tried the 3D, as far as I can tell, was in the second one, and it was not good. And I immediately stopped playing. So
yeah,
I'm glad they didn't do that. However, I mean, if they did it here, they could definitely work it. Again, we're actually talking modern generation running retro style graphics, so it's not an issue. I don't know what the requirements for this game is, but I'm gonna say minimal.
Yeah.
We can back out after this boss fight, and I can kind of run it at a lower everything. Or I can show you with the retro style graphics too. But I prefer this cleaner look.
Let's take a look at the retro style. We can keep it at the 60, but let's try the retro. See what that looks like.
But very much understand what Star Fox is, and they went well with it. So just use the retro style graphics as a baseline, but even then, you have to pick a planet to back up the menu.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no like pause. You have to just do that.
Okay.
Video. Where's the resolution one? Retro. And we can throw it down the... Probably 15 is what the game ran at in 1.
Okay.
Just for
I could see that. That Super Effects chip was like was literally like magic.
Yeah. It's not great
looking. Oh, that's pretty neat.
It's neat, but playing it sucks.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine.
But
this is more of that nostalgia trip for people.
Yeah. And as much as I, understand it, I'm not a nostalgia person for that. Give me the game. But it looks kind of nice. It definitely hits that mark of, oh yeah, this is the one. This is this is the original. You can definitely see it.
Oh yeah, you can definitely see it. But it looks like it's also running a little faster.
It might be. Maybe not much though.
No, not by a lot, but it just feels like it's running a little faster.
To be fair, I think the issue that I have with always these slow frame rate stuff is the enemy's AI is not running at 15 frames. It will shoot you as if it was 60, and it does not care. So you probably have a few frames to skip it. Like I'm trying to shoot him. I can't. I hate this. This is the one I lived through it. I played it, and it was like, cool. I understand why this is a big part back in time, but modern systems, we can run 60.
Yeah.
And I should say you should probably run 60.
I feel it.
Yeah. But this is
this is probably for the guy like me that's like, oh, I can put this on just for a little weird thing to do.
Yeah.
But I can, the 60 is probably the most optimal.
Yeah. But this is a fun game. EX-Zodiac is definitely solid, and I hope to see more from them. There's not much beyond trying to go for, like, I guess, a perfect run, but I'm not that crazy. I've tried doing that in the whole day, so I'm done now. No more. So, EX-Zodiac, it's a really fun. Check it out. You can support them. Although I guess they hit the mark, so maybe they don't need it yet.
I think there might be an Indiegogo or something, or a tip jar somewhere.
Nah, yeah, there you go.
I'm sure any kind of support, even just fucking sharing the name around, will help.
Yeah. Solid game. I'm excited.
Solid game.
God, that hurts my eyes.